None of us are born with a guidebook or an instruction manual or the how-to guide for life. We're all trying to figure things out as we go along. The same can be said for parenting. People who have kids are not given an instruction manual because the only resources available are the millions of different opinions and instruction manuals that contradict each other that other people who have written, who also were not given an instruction manual. It's just their opinions, their experiences, what they've discovered. And so we are, all of us essentially, kind of living experiments, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't work, what can we force and make work, what do we have to be flexible with. So it's understandable that some people have felt it necessary to allow and encourage children and teenagers to make life-altering decisions and changes when they are still in that age. The thing is, though, when I look at myself, my life, and who I was as a teenager and as a child, there's not very much that I relate to. My motivations have changed. What's important to me has changed. Yeah, sure, parts of my personality have remained pretty steady throughout my life, but I don't really relate to my teenage self. Like, I'm not emotional the way that I was then. I'm not so prone to self-pity. I'm not so prone to being swept away by emotional things. I'm not who I was then. And that reason alone is enough for me to question this tendency that's been becoming more and more prevalent, where people are encouraging children to make decisions that are going to determine the outcome of the rest of their lives while they are young, without giving them the support that, you know what, life changes. You're going to change. You don't need to decide who you're going to be now. Just live in the moment, enjoy what's here. And for those who are experiencing real disconnects with who they are and real conflicts within themselves, yeah, we need to get better at supporting teenagers especially. And teenagers need to get better at supporting themselves. But that is a topic of parenting, and it's a whole other story. For right now, the very simple point remains that there is no one that I know who has stayed so much the same from childhood into teenagers, into middle adult years, that they would have made the exact same choices today that they made back then. Like, if I knew then what I know now, I would have made some seriously different choices. If I was as stable then as I am now, I would have made some seriously different choices. But who I was then was the process to getting to who I am now. And thankfully, I was not encouraged to, nor did I want to, make any serious life or body altering choices aside from a little tattoo, which I'm still okay with. So I know that it's difficult for me to speak in these broad terms, to generalize like this. I know that everyone is experiencing different intensities of changes, especially in teenage years. But I do think that we as humanity have a lot of room for improvement in terms of how we relate to each other, and especially how parents relate to their kids, and how parents prepare their children, and how parents might be unknowingly or unawares actually shaping their children and influencing their children to behave in certain ways and to make certain choices that are not so much a reflection of who the child is, but a reflection of the parents, for example, emotional state, and whatever traits the parents been encouraging or maybe discouraging. The child is maybe rebelling against that and trying to be the complete opposite in order to spite their parent, which also is not honoring who they are. So let's discuss this, please. Let's have open conversations about this. Let's talk about the things that we're concerned about, talk about the different ways that we could approach this particular social state or tendency that's been happening. And please remember, no judgment. This is not about pointing fingers and blaming and calling people nasty names. This is about practical, solution-oriented discussion, which, yes, can include looking at the design of how these particular behavioral and thought patterns work and how everything comes together in order to form a better understanding of what's motivating these tendencies. Right. Thank you for watching. You're going to see me next time.